This week's Parsha is Parsha Bamidbar, and this for our Torah is based on a shir I heard from Rav Bernstein. It's his 2019 shir. I'll post it below. But before we get to the Parsha, I actually want to thank everyone who's been along for the ride. This concludes 3 years of going through the Parsha together, and we'll actually be shifting from the Parsha towards Pirkei Avot. So just expect that in the next week or two. That's what we're going to be focusing on. So back to the Parsha. We're in Maftir, the very end, and Rav Bernstein points out that this week's Parsha actually ends with a general precept that we see that's stated in the Yerushalmi, specifically Masechet Megillah in the third parak, and it tells us as follows: that a person should always open with something positive and end with something positive, and it's stated specifically within the context of Kriyat Torah. Even though sometimes negative things need to be said, for example, last week in the Tochacha, however, just don't start or end with that. And we see that like Lamai said, the Parsha does not start or end with that. It starts with blessings and it ends with other things, with taking Meiser. Now, this principle of the Yerushalmi is actually codified lahalacha by the Ramah in the Shulchan Aruch in the Halachas of Kriyat Torah, section 138. However, there are those who look at this exhortation by the Yerushalmi and they note some exceptions. For example, in which parshas? You guessed it, Parshat Bamidbar, our parsha. Now, what do we mean? So you see these special precautions for the Kahatim, right? There are 3 families among the Kohanim. One of them is Kahat, and it says about them at the very last pasuk of this week's parsha, Velo yavo lirot kevala et hakodesh vametu, but they shall not come and look as the holy is inserted, lest they die. That's generally not a positive thing. What happened to Yisayim V'Tavartov? Why are we ending with this? That's not a positive thing. Well, you might say, look, this is a positive thing, so it's just telling us, don't do this, so this won't happen. That's a possible explanation. Maybe. However, we can't say that about some other parshas in the Torah. Like which? Parsha Kadoshim. If we just look a few weeks earlier, at the very end of Parsha Kadoshim, what does it end with? The very last pasuk, and we're looking at Chav Zayin, right? The parak 20, chapter 20, verse 27. V'ish o isha ki hiyevam ovo yudoni mot yumatu ba'even yirgemu otam dmehem bam. Any man or woman in whom there shall be the sorcery of Ov or Yudoni, they shall be put to death. They shall pelt them with stones. Their blood is upon themselves. Whoa. What happened to Yisam Davartov? What's the positive spin here? There doesn't seem to be one. It's just saying, do this and die, effectively. And moreover, at the end of Parshat Balak, right, in I guess several weeks' time, I'm going to see again in Maftir, the very last pasuk. This is in Sefer Bamidbar, chapter 25, verse 9. This is after the Magefa swept Bnei Israel, and says, Vayihiyu hametim b'magefa arba ve'esrim aleph. Those who died in the plague were 24,000. Again, that's not Yisayim V'Tavartov. We're talking about all the dead of Israel. That's not a good thing. So how can we explain the ruling of the Yerushalmi with these parshas? How do we reconcile the two? Now, Rav Bernstein quotes Rabbi Menashe Klein, who's apparently one of the great halachists of North America. And I say apparently because Rav Bernstein knows, I don't know, but that's why I'm quoting him and not myself. So Rabbi Menashe Klein states as follows. He says, we must understand that this directive of opening and closing is really not about the weekly parsha. And why not? Because look, the weekly parsha was set by authorities far greater than us. They had overriding concerns. So however they decided to have the starting and ending points, that was their cheshbon, and that's fine. However, as we know, sometimes people add aliyahs. For example, at my own bar mitzvah, right, there are obviously 7 aliyahs plus maftir. However, in the 7th aliyah, we actually split the 7th aliyah into multiple different aliyahs, so we could be mechabed more people. And that's fine. You're allowed to do that. However, this is where the exhortation of the Yerushalmi comes in. Yisayim V'Tavartov, right? You should start with something, you'll open with something good, end with positive something good, and that's really who it's pointed towards. So really this seems to be a specific halacha stated with regards to the gabbai. The gabbai needs to know this and how this works. Okay, so all we seem to really understand is that, if you're a gabbai, look out for this. Otherwise, not really something of your concern. Don't worry about it. However, the Chasam Sofer was of the understanding that this was actually a directive to everyone. In everything that they said, in conversations, there's a way to open and there's a way to end. And sometimes, you need to say some things in the middle. That's the substance of what you're saying. However, be sure to start with something positive and to end with something positive. And apparently, Rav Bernstein says that Chasam Sofer, it was recorded that he was extremely makbid about this. Even if he needed to exchange harsh words or say something that needed to be said, he started with something positive and ended it with something positive, because that really sets the tone. First, it sets the tone for what you're about to say, so it's more pleasant at the beginning. But moreover, you don't end up hating on somebody, right? And by the way, we're still good. Something positive sends them along. It really gives a whole different flavor to what's said in the middle. And Rav Bernstein then quotes, actually, Mishnah Pirkei Avot. They says maybe we could understand a different layer here in the Mishnah Pirkei Avot, which says, "Have a makdim and bishlom kol adam." Right now, the simple way of reading this is, be sure to say hello first. Right? Be the first to say hello. Have a makdim bishlom kol adam. Right? However, if that's really what it means, and I remember this bothering me when I was in Dallas and tried to do this, that means that really only 50% of people are going to be successful, assuming everyone's read Pirkei Avot. It's kind of like a competition. Who's going to be able to fulfill this precept first? So, okay, well, but that seems to be what the Mishnah is saying. Rav Bernstein says, well, maybe there's actually another idea here. B'makdim b'shalom kol adam. That doesn't only mean to say shalom to him before he says shalom to you. It means say shalom to him before you say whatever else you need to say to him. What does it mean? Some people, especially in this day and age, I can tell you that this is not uncommon, that they want to get straight down to business. Enough with the small talk. It's just a waste of time. Let's just cut to the chase. Tell me what you need. I'll tell you what I need, and then we can move along. Okay, assuming that what you're saying is mutter, that's fine. You're allowed to get to business. You are allowed to talk what you need to say. Just make sure to say good morning first. It's not that way. Say shalom first. Greet the person, and then say goodbye properly, and then you can move on. You don't need to see how is he? Have a 10-minute conversation before, but just there's a way to start a conversation and a way to end one, and that is part of the precept here that we see in Pirkei Avot, and is part of the exhortation of the Yerushalmi. Yisayim et davar tov, right? We see that the Chasam Sofer was able to lift this halacha from Kriyat Torah into his everyday life, and in fact, that is part of what halacha is really all about. Halacha comes from the word of holach, to go, and halacha is meant to teach us how we're supposed to go about our daily lives, not only with specific things that it's trying to tell us, but in the manner in which we're supposed to carry out our everyday business. We'll end it there. Shabbat Shalom. See you next time. And Chodesh Tov.